Yes.
The only reason
the
only reason I'm quiet is because if I participate in this debate and the further I go with this discourse, the more, unlike you, the more I'm likely to be cancelled, the more I'm going to be seen negatively. So it's not fair. It's not fair discourse for.
I think that
Naloen.
this is an education thing.
But I understand what you're saying.
You know, even the whole thing where you have sex with someone drunk, they're not fully there. Like there's a thing where we need to teach men to actually, because women have never had a voice, and you know that we come from a system of women not having voices. Men have always just done as they please.
One.
Ganwa?
Yes.
No.
I've spoken with a lot of people babanwang.
Yes.
Bomme.
Yes, but I have drank, but I'm not like a drinker.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm asking you is, they say, especially Unwawai,
yes,
it's part of the foreplay. You can imagine,
yes, it does
to
make you
avoid
relax.
this. Yes, exactly. To avoid this, sometimes you say, okay, just to avoid matata, but baska jola ku meruko, but baska betana from the club.
It's supposed to.
Yes, if someone if someone is drunk, then I will not consent because you are not yourself. So we are going to end up going that way just to save men. Because you guys are...
That's fine,
exactly,
isn't it?
Just to save men. Because we're going to get to that extent.
It's not going to save us. It saves everybody. When we educate the men about what sexual consent means, it means that less of us are going to be sexually violated. It means less of you are going to be accused.
Exactly. So, to an extent that we're going to have to make selfies. NTSIKI, do you agree to this?
Even if it comes to that, that's fine, guys.
Yes. And then people are going to say...
fine.
You are taking out the spark, but let's leave it.
There's rules everywhere in every society or whatever you're doing. There's rules of engagement. Even at work, there's rules of engagement. Guys, there are rules of engagement in sex, and we all need to sit down and have these conversations so that there's less false accusations and less assaults.
So there are two men who said where you said, Abelta who said there, and Patrick Sindani said there, both political players, both career, they lost their careers, and they were telling me in the podcast, they lost their careers because you understand?
Yeah, but
yes. So, and I sit here and I listen to their story. You know, that thing could happen to any man. But as a woman, when you are shielded from that ever happening to you, the likelihood of happening to you,
my likelihood is the opposite. It's being sexually assaulted.
Exactly.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is the likelihood of it happening to you, and no, I want you to tell you because
it needs to be sexually. It's
no.
At all.
I'm saying you being a victim is high. But you being accused, yes, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying the accusation.
Yes, the accusation for you.
That's because men have got the physical power.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, I don't think of your problems because they are not to me.
Yes.
I don't think I can't try to change go. I don't think of that way. You don't think of the inherent danger of Hotzama Lemoto accuse.
Exactly.
And as African men and women, it's a struggle that when we have that men's conference, we must sit down, we must call Impogoto to come and tell us, guys, please, here's a letter. Go and ask Impogoto, what is it that you want? Let me repeat it. Women, what is it that you want? Once they tell us what they want, we write it down to men. This is what they want.
Yes.
But do you know that it's impossible?
Why is it impossible? Because we've learned how to... The fact that we dress like this is because of socialization. The fact that we do things like this is because of socialization. So just from a young age, how do we start grooming young boys, how to behave around girls? How do we groom young women, how to behave? This is not that hard, guys. It's just about... Otherwise, we're just going to continue like this. We're going to have this vicious cycle forever.
And
all of us.
Yes,
all of us.
African
because
people.
What also another thing that happens is that the perpetrators, they use the justice system to silence either the victim or the activist. And then what that does is that it silences everybody else that he's done this to, and then he can continue to do that.
So there's no peace. There's no peace. So okay, let's start here. You know how I knew you? I knew you from that era, the vibrant poets.
Yes, slam poets, yes.
Bunapo Mashiane, Mashile.
The sister,
Yes. What happened to that clique? And is it a genre that had died? Are you resuscitating it? Are people still doing it? What happened to it? I see young women are no longer doing what you guys used to do.
I know. I think the times have just changed,
Because I'm thinking...
Poetry is kind of struggling. I did see that.
The reason I'm asking you deliberately is, why want piano?
Yeah.
Imagine you...
Yes.
At the background,
yes,
maybe a younger artist borrowing your lines,
yes,
singing it, maybe ukradi royalties,
yes,
or your voice,
yes,
singing it behind the piano. Remember what people used to sing about anything in house, whether it was hip hop, they would put it in a house song. Hip hop, like the ballads, they would be in a house music.
Poetry died when that group broke up. I know. I know.
So I want to ask you about that. I see Lebo is in showbiz.
That didn't end well, I must admit.
Between yourselves or between...
Yeah, it didn't end well. Actually, in fact, in the end, they said I was the problem. So
I didn't know.
Yes. So, I mean, I've moved on with my life. I use it differently. I use my work differently and my voice differently. Life happens,
I wanted to speak to Mazwai Mbuli because I wanted to unpack his Chrissy Tembisile Hani poem.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't think it has been explored more. I was very young. And I assume.
Are you 44?
I'm 45.
Yes, I'm 45 in September.
So when Chris had died, that poem became something for us to learn from Govindava to Boxburg, from Boxburg to...
I haven't actually heard that poem, but I'll look out for it.
I loved it because it came at around that time, in my teens. So we've never actually unpacked it, and I begged Mbuli to come and...
Am I allowed to gossip here?
Yeah, please do.
Because Mbuli, I don't really vibe with, because there was a time he wanted us to come and do a work for the ANC.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to politicize my work at that time. And then, this is long ago, then he went on a smear campaign. He went to the papers to be like just dragging me and stuff. So I was like, yo, old man, excuse me, why are you like...
So you beefed with the old man?
I was like, yo! I even phoned him. I was like, why are you speaking crap about me in the papers, man? Hey,
so you beefed with the old man?
I'll be like, no, I don't like what you did here. So, I think I'm the problem. I actually think I am a problem.
NTSIKI is the problem.
I think I'm a problem.
So, yes. Would you have wished to be in informal employment, in a 9-to-5 job, career, or you think you wouldn't have lasted?
I seem to be a problem, I think.
Yeah.
I think that I'm too free-spirited. It would be wonderful to have a sustainable gig that is suited to me. But I do think maybe, because I'm usually like in the forefront of things, right? Like when we look at my beadwork, my beadwork ended up being copied and it's a style. When we look at my poetry and my music, I'm usually a groundbreaker.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking you is, I brought Tababu Ebunapo Mashiane Lebu because you guys started a genre independently and it became Mugu, became special. And you know, I'm a sports head. I watch sports.
Yes.
You guys could recite poem before Sundown Sedlala, Pirates Sedlala, Maboko Boko Adla.
Hey, we were very famous.
You were owning that thing. You could have...
It's because of egos.
You know,
egos. People became more famous than who's more famous. I keep busy. I'm more famous.
Yeah.
What was that?
What this other the light girl? What did talk about? Shoma Josie.
Yeah.
You know when Shoma Josie came, and I was like, now you see, it's like you guys.
Yes, she was inspired by that.
Yes. So you guys had an industry within you. It's like, you know, the Bango Muffin and the Boom Shaka era.
Yes.
This thing was anchored by you.
Yes.
Was it the industry did not welcome you? Because there was a lot of opportunities for you guys.
Yes.
No, the Irajadi podcast. You guys will be reciting people's podcasts. Hi, come on, yeah. This Tagazelo Sao. I mean, I feel it's a ball dropped. Do you think the industry wasn't ready for you, or you guys were just too immature for yourselves?
No, I don't
dynamics?
think so. I think that we were conscientizing people too fast for the white people's liking. I think that's one of the dynamics, because if you remember, because we were the era of both Jill Scott, both Indiana
Yes.
And then system at least about Beyonce. And then brought that kind of
Erika Badu fell.
And that also played out here, if you remember. I don't want to name names, but these are the Weave girls who were like, we are here, this thing like this, you know? And then it just moved away from being the soul sister, being natural, to being Weave and, understand? So I think that the time... Yes, the era ended, but I do think that there was a deliberate third hand that pushed away from this kind of... Because if you remember that era, black people were now starting Black is Proud. It was building up, and then I think that,
Someone spoke about, you know, like I always refer to you as Takayaka. And guys, I'm sorry, I told you it's going to be a conversation. So when you and I grew, Bona Magazine, Pace and stuff, people would complain about a type of girl. Or they would complain, or they're projecting a skinny girl, light skin African people are not there. Now it's already chubby girls. Everywhere. You see the girls, they twerk. We don't like it much. But now at least that battle has been won. I saw something on TikTok.
We fought that battle. Because we were...
I saw that battle on TikTok, someone speaking about Kwai. That thing, you know, that thing was getting out of fashion, and then the vape and the hookahs came. So it brought it back. So I'm giving that as an example that you guys were almost winning the war. You had weave, you had women's hair, old school. So you were actually winning that battle. And then that's another slave queen debate. And you guys were kicked out. Do you blame Yuma Sekela for the stance that he took?
No, not
at all. I don't shoot with
I encourage that. And Elena, when I'm old enough to take that stance, I'm going to, because now it can be a bit bitchy. But when I'm older, I can be like, actually, you know what? I don't believe in this, and please, because it leads to girls putting on their own, being themselves. There's nothing negative about me saying I won't take pictures. It's your problem if you're going to have an ego break because you're wearing white person's hair and now you've attached your identity to a white person's hair. But what I'm saying to you is that I want you to come as yourself.
Young girls only know NTSIKI, who they bully on Twitter, who is in a lot of do we still call them tours now? Because the X, what do we call these fights? Twitter fights.
Am I in tours? Okay.
You've got battle scars, Wena. So they only know you as the one that fights. The reason I'm deliberately calling you back from as a groundbreaker pioneer in this thing is because they don't think you are talented. They don't think, they just, when they wake up, they was NTSIKI, they don't know what NTSIKI does.
They don't know.
And that's a longevity of someone who's in the industry for a long time. So it's going to be a time where, like, people are complaining. They say untalented people are coming into show business. Kabo Yellow Bone, Bapakile, Banale, lots of Instagram followers. They took over the industry. All people in the industry talk about these people, but they hardly tell us who are they. These people.
We know who they are.
We know. Please tell us.
No, I'm joking.
So we're going to get to a stage where these people are majority. There's a comrade of mine, Marshall, around Tembisa. He says, "Hey, Marshall, lena ko pitori le kaone. Rena mo Tembisa. even if I got xenophobia, those people outnumber us 8-1.
Yeah.
So it will never be a xenophobia strike.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Mozambicans.
Yes, I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you.
So we can't square any xenophobia here because right now we are a minority in Tembisa. So you guys are going to be a minority, and the more you speak is the more you are cancelled, the more you are not gigging and stuff. So do you think there's a solution to this, or maybe the industry has just evolved? We just have to come accustomed to it?
I think that hopefully you adapt.
Yeah.
So when I was saying with this music thing, it's a bit, that's how we got into podcasting.
Yeah.
Because now it's online media, that's the thing. So I think that if you are truly gifted, your gift knows how to maneuver and move with the times and stay young, and so I'm hoping that the youth is going to carry me, and I think that is what's going to happen, because what I'm finding is that the older ones, in the past there was lots of insulting of me, but these younger ones are me.
Yeah.
Like I've given birth to NTSIKI MAZWAI. If you look at the young girls now, it's just NTSIKI MAZWAI,
Yeah.
So
every time you and Julius fight, I'm like,
I'm not fighting with Julius. Do you know I like Julius?
I know, but
Julius.
every time you guys are beefing, and I'm like,
this last time.
I was telling Hanki that Hanki's actually, Julius Malema, true Julius Malema.
Yes,
so every time when I Julius, I'm like, these people shouldn't be fighting because skin to one.
I know.
Because you suffer a lot for being pioneers. You suffer a lot for people being misunderstanding you.
Yes.
I love Julius a lot. I love Julius. I love Julius a lot. And
but he's a bully.
But of course. The pains he goes through of being himself.
The time when Floyd left him, that was when I was like, nah. Even when your enemies are like, no, guys, don't do this to my enemy.
2024 was bad, man, for
I was
Julius.
so heartbroken. But then when he started doing retweeting of then I was just like, no, fuck you. But then I reignited. I was like, try like that. But when I spoke to somebody, they were like, no, hurt people. And then I actually understood, but this person's actually hurt and he's going through a lot. And let me not add my spice. But I do like
So when you were dragged, he retweeted and you asked him to withdraw. What happened there?
He was being stubborn and he didn't want to.
Yeah.
Then, because I sent an email, take that down. Then when he didn't think, that's when I put it publicly.
Yes.
Now I was making a noise, hey, I've done this.
Yes.
And based on my own lawsuits, you can be sued for a retweet.
Of course.
The beauty of that is that since that day, the fighters are very, very well behaved. They don't come into my space haphazardly.
So Julius withdrew, or he took
I don't think he withdrew, but I think that there was internal communications.
Yes, to say you are actually in the wrong.
Fall back, everybody. So I think there was a conversation that was had, because that stuff is not happening.
So let me tell you of my heroines lately.
Yes.
Mamkheti Pakeng, of course. Papa No Pasha.
Yes. We always have on Moya. Papa.
Yeah, Papa No Pasha.
She's such a wild card.
There's a lady called Notolo on TikTok. I love listening to her. I find myself listening. I will send you her stuff.
Okay.
We should have her on more. I tried to get her here. She's just dilly-dallying, but I want you to have her. She's brilliant.
I love platforming powerful women.
She's brilliant. I'm telling you, you're gonna love Nokolo. And I listen to her like I would be talk video to video. I agree with a lot of things that she says. And she, you listen to her, you get empowered.
Or maybe
much like much like Papa No Pasha. I can listen to Papa No Pasha the whole. I've got so much time for Papa No.
I like that so much. Yes.
I can listen to Papa No Pasha the whole day. So I've realized that these women are groundbreaking, and they are gonna find a space.
Yeah.
There's a lady who works with the
women that girls can't
at NASA. I requested, man, please come to the podcast, because what I want to do is because I say to women, le never said they are disappointed. We end up this depth in leadership of women, because the ones that who are in leadership, they are afraid to come to spaces where we need you guys to go out. If you're not, there's I put your YouTube post on my status WhatsApp.
Okay.
NTSIKI is the only is one of the few podcasters who does what she does, and she mustn't give up, because if you give up, I remember a while time ago people were talking about, but why can't women do this? Because they don't have grit and stuff. But do you realize if you give up that space?
Well, when women do it, we don't have support.
Yeah, because...
And you guys do it deliberately. So many people come to me and be like, we are not watching you. And they say it, liar. And I'm just like, you're so stupid, because my podcast is not even about me. It empowers you guys.
Yes.
So when you walk away there, it's going to make you cleverer. So what you're coming to tell me is that